Let's welcome our distinguished guests to the stage. Paul Caldwell, Chairman and CEO at Caldwell Soames. Jackie Wang, Chairman of United Capital. Simon Tang, ODC Capital Vice Chairman and Chief Legal Officer. Richard Wang, Managing Partner of DraperDragon Fund. Jimmy Chen, Fast Global CEO. Let's welcome. OK， 好，那我们接下来这个圆桌是用中文进行。好。
This panel will be in Mandarin. First of all, I would like to express our sincere gratitude for our guests to come to our panel. First of all, I would like you to do a self-introduction and share with us the current status of the development of AIGC and what are the cases that we should pay attention to. Let's start from Paul.
And talk about what you think about right now the current AIGC and there is any special case that you want to recommend. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Paul Caldwell. I'm a chairman and CEO of Caldwell Soames. We are a private equity investment firm with a publicly traded enterprise fund and a privately held companies fund. We are based in Houston, Texas, in the United States. From a special use case perspective, I think it's important to understand that we're at early days with W3 and AI technologies and how they actually apply to the markets for investors. So for early stage investors, it's like the gold rush right now. For later stage investors like us who keep our eye on the gold rush, we are most interested in the tools that enable or empower AI technologies. So I think it's important to keep our eye on the tools as much as on the actual AI applications themselves. In other words, if you dig into ChatGPT, you find the underlying technology it's built on. And if you map that back, you find out it's the Linux Foundation, and it originally came out of Meta AI, and now it's the Linux Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization, right? So it's important to understand where these tools are coming from. We think there are some exciting companies to keep our eye on.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
谢谢主持人，谢谢大会。我叫
Moderator, I'm Richard. I'm from DraperDragon. We are a Silicon-based fund. We were founded in 2006. So actually, we have been doing a lot of traditional risk investment. Regarding AI, in the early stage, in 2006, we invested in the chip manufacturers. From then till now, there are a lot of chips are for GPU. And we also invested in the algorithm, the auto big AI. The auto big AI is one of our investment projects. And we can see there are so many AIGC projects. And in this field, we pay attention to many different segments. For example, LLM. Oric has invested in the cloud. We know that we still have a long way to go in the LLM. And in China, we also have a lot of companies working on LLM. But for the VC, if the LM is not with a big IPO or even a very high ROI, even if we were from Silicon Valley, but we'll use the nominated fund, we also will pay attention to some Chinese projects. If we consider the Chinese market size, we do not only consider about the applications at the 2C level, as is mentioned by our previous speaker. Paul said that we will pay attention to tools. In the actual fact, many companies are doing 2B projects based on the tools and applications, and the revenue can be about tens of millions or even over 700 million on BUN's revenue because they're serving different segments, verticals, financial, medical, education. So I think these verticals or segments will be easy to develop. Let's get back to the situation in Hong Kong. There are a great pool of talents from the universities in Hong Kong. You can work on the development of AIGC and also integration of AIGC with blockchain. And we got to know the integration of AIGC to blockchain. AIGC is dealing with data while the blockchain are also with a lot of data. So the integration between AIGC and blockchain will be very potential, and that is the field.
Thank you, Richard. Hello, I'm Jackie Wang. I'm a founder of Yulian. I used to be the vice president of Alibaba, and I was in charge of strategies and management of M&A pre-IPO. So over the past 30 years, from traditional industries to the internet and to Web3, I have been very actively involved. So in 2013, I founded my company. Actually, the purpose of doing that is to provide services to internet companies because I have a lot of industrial background, so I know a lot about projects. For example, we can really tap into the potentials of different projects and nurture those projects. Meanwhile, we also manage some family funds. We also have direct investment. We pay attention to technologies and the public livelihood, and we also pay attention to AI companies. For example, robotics. It is going to be listed in Hong Kong. Another project is Robot Tech, which is already listed in A share. So when it comes to AIGC track, now this is something that we pay a lot of attention to. In the future, we pay more attention to under big models, what kind of applications there will be, because we're also providing some smart algorithm for business management. We're going to talk about that later. And we also have a partnership with some major investment companies and institutions. We hope that in this new digital era, in the field of big models, we can provide funds to enable different projects. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Wang. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Jimmy. We're from Fast Global. We're also making investment. We're also very innovative accelerator. We have been paying attention to in cryptocurrencies a lot and blockchain and AI. So when it comes to innovations on AI, so if AI 1.0 is just power, and then AI 2.0 is power grid. So if it is only power, of course, it is just power, but if we want to use a lot of home appliances, we have to rely on Power 2.0, which is network. So AIGC, wise, we have already invested 7 different projects, and we take a focus on tools. applications of tools. And inside China, we pay attention to, for example, different models, different applications, integrated applications especially. And we're very optimistic about the market development. And we also know that countries are different from each other in terms of culture. In the States, AI is already very mature. And inside China, of course, we need to understand it's slightly different. Okay, thank you, Jimmy. Thank you.
Mr. Paul Caldwell is the chairman of our company. So we're here. We are based in Houston, Texas, but we're global companies. And being a lawyer, we love compliance. We love litigation, but we also love pre-IPO merger and acquisitions. So to us, all the same. I mean, whether it's AI, blockchain, or any type of business, what we do is we facilitate the transition between capital and technology. We kind of merge them together. So we're going to talk about a lot. I have a lot of real cases about merger and acquisition cases, financing cases. We also love all kinds of financing, from private equities into merger and acquisition financing. This is the one we like a lot. And of course, our company is always involved in AI, and I'm going to let Paul talk more about our business model. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. OK，那我们简单介绍之后呢，我们先。
So I'm going to raise a round of questions to you. When it comes to AI technologies, while the cost is too high, no matter it is human power or training, so it really raises the bar. So when it comes to AIGC, what is the competitive barrier? What is going to be the barrier? Modeling, algorithm, or our ability to have insight on our customers? So we start with Paul.
The cost is very high across the board. And this becomes a barrier to success because of the high costs associated with training and education. But I think it's really, we have to think about the personal needs of the users and what the market expects and consumers expect and businesses expect. So there's also an education that has to go on in a more general way. Because for people first to adopt this and adapt it to their lives or their businesses, they have to understand it and where the value actually is. And so we can experiment a lot with grid computing, AI, and so forth, which is where you kind of get the scale of power that you need to make it work. But there are companies, for example, payments technology. There's a payments technology company called OGPay that I'm aware of and I know a lot about. And they're looking right now at pattern recognition and visual recognition in consumer products powered by AI to enable payments to be more efficient. So these are things that people can understand if it transforms how they think about how they use their money, something quite simple. But it has to be applied to the real world, in my view, before it's ever going to really matter. There are some costs and barriers. So the companies that enable a clearer understanding by the masses are going to win the day.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Richard?
谢谢 Panda。我觉得这个训练这个成本啊。
Thank you so much, Panda. Of course, the cost itself is going to be huge. For example, we need a lot of computational power in training. Is it possible that we can come up with some less costly GPU or CPU to do the training? Or is it possible that some regional computational power can be integrated? So scattered computational power can be integrated to lower the cost. And of course, it depends on what kind of protocols we use. This is about training. It doesn't mean that in every scenario we're going to use big models. Of course, we already have some open source big models, but in some verticals, it is just enough to use smaller models. The training cost is lower in those cases because the models are already fixed. We don't need to further the modeling. We just need to some reductive computation because it is already fixed vertical. So we don't have to add more cost on top of that. So when it comes to cost, there are several things. First of all, infrastructure. Infrastructure-wise, do you have any other methods to bring down the cost? And second, application-wise, what kind of ways we can use to use fixed vertical related models because we don't have to add more data sets into the training. Because we've been talking about, for example, AI assistant. It doesn't mean that it will work 24/7 because after work, you're another identity. During work, you're another identity. So in some vertical, we can narrow down our products into a model where we don't have to add more data. So the cost can be saved. So of course, when it comes to cost and profits, there must be a balance. Not necessarily you. Some startups will be able to do that. Okay, thank you, Richard. Thank you. Mr. Wang, yeah, cost is a relative issue. For big model infrastructure, all the cost necessary will be required. From our perspective, the cost is very huge. So AIGC, why there's a consensus, the development of AIGC is three-layered models, content, and application. And right now, it is not yet on the third stage yet. But when it comes to AIGC, starting from February, March to now, it's a little bit more than half a year. Not a lot of people are doing big models, just big players are doing that. Some people are thinking that this is last chance for big investment. Well, but it is not. It is dead end because it burns a lot of money. So big players will, of course, play with big models, but smaller players will play with smaller models in different verticals suited for different scenarios. And this kind of smaller models don't incur a lot of cost because the vertical in question already has some data and algorithm. And, the demand is also there, so the cost is relative. I just want to say that I'm very happy that within less a year, we already have this consensus. We're no longer jumping on the bandwagon to chase after the shining object, which is the big model. So everybody is right now focusing on smaller models. So in response to your question, of course, it is necessary to make investment, but it boils down to who is the investor. And we should think about the applications of the models. So once there is consumers, and then the business model is in a closed loop. So no matter it is big models or smaller models, it is just like the logic where we invested in, for example, e-commerce and internet in the Web 2 era. Okay, thank you so much. Of course, I am completely on board with you, to Mr. Wang's. Everybody can see that the investment circle is taking focus on, for example, big data. Investors, of course, are forced to take a focus on that as well. Of course, big players have a lot of fun. They have deep pocket. They have enough money to burn to train those models. For smaller businesses, it's not to say that they cannot do that, but they simply don't have enough fund. They don't have enough talents. So, of course, I believe that for big companies, for mature companies, they can do their businesses on smaller models, like the medical industry, like the financial industry. So those verticals are easier. They only have to feed their own data. That would be enough. That would be sufficient. NVIDIA already launched GXG 200, so the volume is AH100. It is 300 times of each 100. So the cost is more than 300 million. So that is a huge cost for smaller businesses, and big businesses are already very mature in their modeling. And for startups, if it is AIGC or AIGC plus, and then some data can be embedded. If the data is not complete, and there can be some model-based APIs, and this can lower the cost. When the applications are mature, so some private data can be based on some smaller chips, so the privacy can be protected. So in general, I think when it comes to cost, we believe that vertical based smaller models will be more helpful. A lot of customers don't necessarily need that much data. And let's take medical industry, for example. Every patient only needs 80% of them only need medical models to generate some data necessary for them. So I'm completely on board with Mr. Wang's, to Mr. Wang's. A lot of businesses, of course, can use API or can leverage some smaller data sets to train their algorithm. This can help them bring down cost and will not incur a lot of pressure. Okay, this is my take on this question. Thank you so much.
You just have to tell a better story in the Wall Street. 那个华尔街讲故事啊，这个 AI 本身想象空间。
So we just tell good story to Wall Street. So AI plus blockchain. As long as we can solve the problems of privacy or copyright or patent. This is just one aspect of that. Another aspect is that if we put that on asset tokenization, and that will provide us with unlimited imagination.
You tell a good story. We check 3 things: your fixed products management team and also revenue model. If you tell a good story about the 3, regarding asset tokenization, we have a lot of apps. We're not talking about air coins, we're talking about real assets. Especially if we can address the major issues with AI, the ownership, privacy, I believe its prospect will be very bright. Regarding asset digitalization or tokenization, we're talking about real estate, equity, liability, IPR, communities, and carbon emission, carbon credit. And the infinite assets can be tokenized. How can we collect AI and the blockchain perfectly? Thank you, Simon. We just talked about the consensus. So I want to ask, in the AIGC investment, have you reached a consensus? And I think this velocity is super fast. If we form a consensus why it's so fast, is it a good thing or bad thing?
I think a consensus around investment in AIGC from my perspective, which is from an investor's perspective, not an engineer's perspective, is all about the value that gets created. And back to what Mr. Wang said about scale and scope are absolutely relevant here, because if I want to get exposure to AI, I just increase my position, my existing position, investment position in NVIDIA. I just can invest in this space through an existing investment that I can just increase a position in. On the other hand, if I'm looking for the future on a more nimble, more diverse platform, I might look at a Halo as far as a chip comparable sort of a thing. So I agree with Mr. Wang that you're going to find and this happens always in technology, you're going to find the speed and the new innovation coming out of these small little networks that are dealing with vertical markets. It's a very exciting space. But I think the value and the consensus in the investment community at this point in time is there are really easy ways to invest in AI and Web3 through companies that are large companies dealing with large problems and investing hundreds of millions of dollars into programs. But I think the future is clearly in the small, fast, and nimble players that come out of venture capital that will find their way to the top and become the targets of private equity groups like my firm.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, Richard.
谢谢 Panda。这个共识
I'm not so sure about the consensus. AI is a long-term trend. We started from the voice recognition to semantic recognition about 30 years ago. 10 years ago, we have the voice recognition. It's a trend. What is iteration? From the perspective of investment, AI will be part of the future world. We are talking about investing in the future. Paul has mentioned the early stage investment. Your early stage investment will be invest the future. So how long is the future? 1 year, 2 years, or 10 years? So the next generation internet, blockchain, and also Web 3.0 will be the next generation. We have so many newly ones. The future is still evolving. I believe AI, blockchain, Web 3.0 are all future. How to invest the future? What's the timeline? According to the Ghana curves in emerging sectors, in Ghana's analysis, AIGC needs to be mature in 5 years' time. So it will have mass adoption. Another definition will be there will be a lot of companies making AIGC which can have profits and they can have chance to go listed. It will get mature in 5 or 10 years' time. We are investors, we are investment institution. We invest the future. 5 years' time, we need to exit. So between 5 or 10 years, we need to exit from this investment, from the capital market. So can we sustain it economically? For example, how long is the duration for this fund? 3 plus 2 or 5 plus 2 years. So in which timing you should enter it? I think that will be a consensus for the investment of the, institutions. We are not evergreen institutions. For example, 5, 7, 10, or 12 years. You need to pay attention to timing. At the time of maturity, maybe 3 or 5 years, prior to maturity, we can enter the investment sector. This will be a scientific consensus. I think it's a good thing. In the past 2 decades, we can see the technological development starts from PC, mobile internet, and intelligent algorithm. Each round of technological innovation is driving the social progress. With the advent of AIGC, we know that in the past 6 or 7 years, the OpenAI has been developing this. A tech enterprise will pay attention to 4 aspects: technology, market, capital, and products. So among these 4 elements, capital will be always there because capital will be always looking for investment opportunities. Technologies keep evolving and iterating, and when a product is produced after a technology was born, it will take much a long time. Previously, we were talking about the competition of different e-commerce platforms, but for the AIGC, it needs years of accumulation and a very powerful algorithm and hash rate. Since this February and March, with the advent of ChatGPT 3.0, we were astounded. This product is so intelligent. We can say the major companies are making hefty investments in researching of large language models, and many investment institutions are also investing in this. In the first half of this year, the AIGC market is so hot and even a little bit frivolous, but with half a year's time, the market begins to cool down. I think it's a good thing. all the investment institutions will be unlike investing in e-commerce or Groupons. You do not need to consume a lot of capital or retain the capital and make a more efficient use of capital to support and invest those very excellent startup projects, and the LLM will be invested by the large companies because that will cost about hundreds of billions of US dollars. So I think that will be the social division. It's very good for DC and the customers. Of course, we will be very happy because we've never met an app which can meet our demands intelligently, and it also excites our enterprises because we have a very intelligent tool which will bring better services to the enterprises and provide more experiential products. So we should focus on the verticals instead of consuming or spending a lot of money. I think it's good for us to reach a consensus after half a year. The benefits outweigh its disadvantages. To invest in the future, we need to have the forward-looking thoughts, and will be facing a lot of obstacles and challenges. The market will be very evolutionary, will lead to very good products, large markets, and more precision industrial applications. And I think for the startups, you do not need to worry about investment because we are only lack of good opportunities and good projects, and we never lack of capital. I share strong feeling with this. The human civilization has been developing so many years. We are seeking for efficiency from the steaming engine, industrial age, or tech revolution era. During each industrial revolution, we are seeking for higher efficiency. The era changes with efficiency. When the efficiency is higher, we can reach consensus. Let's take the consensus from the investment cycle. For example, there is a very interesting thing. The popular trend for AI was in 2017. AlphaGo defeated Sedo Lee, the Eagle player, and we are hoping that AI will bring us a lot of benefits. But till 2018, OpenAI has been launched the first GPT, and the financing was about 400 million US dollars. Last year, OpenAI launched the large language model, and the investment for AI has been almost about $4 billion. In Q1 of this year is about $11.6 billion to the investment. So people are investing in AI frantically. And another interesting point is that in 2017, there is a transformer's thesis. If you are paying attention to AI, you will know this thesis has been very resounding. Two researchers are from Google. This year, without any ideas about names of the companies, a lot of venture investments approached them, want to fund them or ask them to start the business in AI. Now the company is still not named, but its valuation was about 50 million US dollars. The consensus of investors is actually we look very positively at the development of AI in the future. Besides, we are thinking about how we can use a tool to bring more benefits to our life. I use Auto AI a lot. The texts, gestures, stability. These are frequently used AI apps. And when using these AI apps, it can save me a lot of time. Previously, to write an article, it will take me about several hours or even half a day. But now, with the help of AI, it will only take me about less than 1 hour, which will greatly improve my efficiency. And that will be a very good direction for AI. I can reach consensus with those who use AI because it can address many issues. I can spend more time to addressing other problems. The greatest trend for AI will be ASI, but it will take about 5 to 10 years. I'm longing for it. I believe in the future, AI will bring many benefits and convenience to the mankind. According to research from the States, they approached the tens of thousands of people for this research. So do you think that AI will help your daily life or not? 80% of users hope that the AI can be frequently used in their daily life. I believe that global-wide, the AI users are all expecting this future. Of course, we are still in the era of AIGC. The development of AIGC is still 10%, and in the future there will be more exciting and more useful stuff awaiting us. So that is my comments. Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy.
A moving target. I mean, it keeps moving. Let me give you a summary of what's happening in the last 10 years. 2017 was a years of ICO, initial coin offering. We have a lot of ICO, and this is for 2017. And then 2018, we have the years of exchange, cryptocurrency exchange. Hundreds of those came up. And then year 2019 is years of public change. We have a lot of public change coming out. And 2020 is year for NFT. NFT only lasts a year. And then 2021 is years of metaverse. Metaverse was hard, and a lot of companies changed the name to Meta. And then, of course, 2022 is the Web3, year of Web3. And then 2023 is AI, year of AI. I'm predicting next year, 2024, maybe AI plus blockchain, and the application will be real-world asset tokenizations. That's my prediction. I mean, so it's a moving target. You never try to catch it. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. OK， 所以大家刚才讲了，这个确实是 AI 是一。
Yeah, it is really good opportunity for AI. A lot of investors, a lot of fund want to go into this realm. So in the next half year or even longer, we have a lot of different opportunities, and you have also met quite a lot of different startups and a lot of founders. So we're running out of time, but I just want to have a question for you. So for any AI startups, if you have any suggestions for them to use this opportunity to start their business, what is going to be your recommendation?
Whatever is in front of you right now, I believe that Moore's law, as it is applied to this space, almost doesn't apply, because the rapid development and the rapid iterations of AI technology coupled with other technologies, I think we're going to see infrastructure, content, and context. So if you look at it from a content, context, and infrastructure point of view, if I'm a startup, I say focus on what's in front of you, and focus is the main point. We're going to see so much inefficient use of capital over the next 5 years. I think it's not even funny. And I think discipline rules. And I think the way you succeed is to differentiate yourself at some level in some way. And if you can do that and stay focused on it, you'll become known as a differentiator, stay ahead of the curve, drive the curve, and then you'll be one of those standing 5 years from now.
Thank you, Richard.
好，谢谢。其实我们确实面对很多的创业者啊，但
Yes, indeed. We have met quite a lot of different startup entrepreneurs, especially those Chinese entrepreneurs and capitals are simply chasing the bright object to do something. So when it comes to venture capital, there must be issues to be addressed. What kind of pain points must be addressed? What kind of which kind of slices of pie you can take. Of course, this is common logic, but of course, this is based on market. So, what is the missing point? What is the pain point? What is your solution so that you can take slices of the cake? And let's look at our entrepreneurs. Are you innovating your models or technologies? What kind of absolute advantages you have? What kind of comparative advantages you have? And what do you have under your belt to do this? So two things to consider. First of all, demand. Do we have pain point now? Or is it going to be some pain points in the future? It doesn't mean that what we do will generate things now. So are we looking at 5 years from now, 3 years from now? And we shouldn't only focus on the bandwagon today, because everybody is doing that. And on what basis you can be top 5? So if you cannot be 5, what good will that do for you and for capitals? So we should have long-term perspective. We should balance this kind of views on long-term and short-term demand from the market. No one will know what the future looks like, but the more we understand this market, the more accurate our prediction will be. And then what kind of resources do you have as an entrepreneur? What kind of qualification do you have so that you can lead the league? So after so many years of investment, after we have seen quite a lot of different projects, I think those are the questions that every entrepreneur should think about. So my recommendation is that, first of all, give up your fantasies. So whenever we have opportunities, everybody thinks that they're going to be the next Elon Musk or Tony Ma. But I just want to say that it is difficult to start up a business even though opportunities are coming, but they're gone very fast. And I don't know if you have noticed that the window of opportunities is smaller and smaller from O2O to metaverse to blockchain. The very core ability or the very core to translate those opportunity window to reality is not just technologies, but a kind of realistic model that can be translated into real stuff. So it is not just to burn money. So no matter it is Web3 to AI to any other technologies, when you start up your businesses, there are going to be a lot of challenges and a lot of uncertainties. Don't chase the bright object. You have to return to your team to think about what you're good at, what you're going to do, what you're not going to do. Because there are a lot of uncertainties included or involved. We have to start from what we're good at. So nowadays, the chances are not like the chances that we had 20, 30 years ago. It is just difficult to innovate our technologies or models to succeed. So products, technologies, and markets and applications and capitals are equally important, and capital will not randomly select investment projects or targets. They're actually very careful and cautious, and after rounds and rounds of education, they are more realistic and practical and pragmatic. So if you don't have good products, if you don't have good team, if you don't have any commercialization or marketization models, they're not going to make investment. The purpose of investment is to exit. If you cannot leverage the money really very well, if you don't have very good scenarios for application, if you don't have very good exit model, it is difficult for you to really continue your business. It's difficult for you to win the hearts of capital. If the project can continue without any capital, of course, this is going to be a very good project, and capital is just icing on the cake. So when there is a big window of opportunities, a lot of entrepreneurs are very, very arrogant sometimes, to speak the least. and they don't care if their projects are problematic. So when there are a lot of opportunities, my suggestion is, as an entrepreneur, in this new year, in this new year of a lot of trends, don't FOMO, don't have fear of missing out. You have to be cautious. You have to think about what kind of integration you can make with this industry that you're in to do something valuable, to do something relevant, to satisfy the market demand, instead of just doing blindly without thinking too much. Otherwise, you're going to meet a lot of issues and problems. And from the AI perspective, a lot of entrepreneurs are thinking about how to do some AI technologies, and some entrepreneurs are trying to build big models. And I don't think this is necessary. And in the field of AI, some people are also thinking about chips or training, to be realistic, to be practical. If you want to do any kind of development tools, there are two quite important areas. One is LangChain, one is Pinot. Those are very good tools for entrepreneurs. No matter you want to do plus AIGC or AIGC plus, this is going to be very helpful. Both tools are going to be very helpful. We hope that in the future, our entrepreneurs can visualize more better products. Okay, when it comes to investment, as I already said, the environment is ever changing. It is not a criticism. It is good. It is good thing. It is not bad thing. Because whenever it changes, there is going to be some economic development drivers. So in the year of metaverse, we sold 2,000 metaverse passports. So one passport costed about 10,000 US dollars. So that generated 20 million for us in revenue. And then Bitcoin, and then, but right now the era is different. But when it comes to artificial intelligence, because texts and images can be applied to different places, starting from the medical or pharmaceutical industries all the way to different other services. But the biggest chunk of that is the tokenization of real assets and global transactions, and this is remarkable. So don't have fear of this kind of ever-changing disruptions. If blockchain can be coupled with AI, we're going to have a wide range of applications. And right now, capitals are chasing this trend. Just now, Mr. Wang already mentioned that the long-term perspective is quite important. I believe that 20 or 30 plus years later, we're going to have super artificial intelligence, which is going to affect everybody. And we as lawyers, we're going to be so happy about that, because we are very concerned with compliance. Because right now we have a lot of litigations on AIGC related issues. And for example, so when it comes to AIGC, and when it comes to right infringement, it is just difficult to define the ownership, not to mention infringement of ownership. And when it comes to the legacy that you leave behind, of course, or inheritage that you're going to leave behind, maybe there's going to be hundreds of pages of annexes, simply because of that. Well, thank you so much. Right now, time is up. I'm going to raise the very last question, because I understand some of your fathers, and I'm a new father here. So I have a question for you, because this is really good opportunity. So my question for all of you is that, because right now it's the era of artificial intelligence, So if we want to educate our kids, well, is that going to be different compared with pre-AIGC and pre-ChatGPT times? So do you have any tricks as to how to educate our kids in this new era?
It's a very big issue. I know it's the last question and we're trying to get wrapped up on this panel, but we could have a whole nother panel on nothing but this question because our children matter to us most. Educating our children is something that over many years of technology and development has evolved, and this is a next evolution or another evolution in how our children not only are educated maybe through AI by simply being able to ask questions, gain information, turn it into knowledge, and apply it to the world, but also how can our children, instead of using AI, how do they feed back into that loop? How do they help the industry? What are the new jobs that emerge? What's a data analyst look like in the world of AI at an investment firm like ours, kids coming out of high school or into the university? So I think this is a very big question. And I think there are terrific applications I could think of off the top of my head. And there are also some concerns I think we need to be aware of. Elon Musk is in the process of developing out a new company, a new AI business. I find it very interesting because one of the keystones, cornerstones, most important aspects of it is the educational aspect. And I think it's something that we certainly in our fund will continue to follow because I think it's maybe one of the biggest questions that we're going to have to deal with going forward. Thank you for inviting me to be here, and I look forward to talking with some of you later.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, Richard, please.
对，这个你讲到父亲啊，我有3个小孩。
You are talking about a father. I have 3 children. My children are still very young. We need to think very deeply about it. Previously, the adults, we need a virtual assistant. What is your AI assistant? Is it you in the real sense? I'm in my 50s. If I introduce the data for 50 years to AI, this AI can simulate 90% of me. This is adults. How about the kids? Since your children were born, you need to feed a lot of data to an engine, and this engine can simulate the digital human. So, for example, you feed this data to this engine 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, and this digital human will also have interaction on the internet. Actually, you know, this actual interaction and this will be integrated. Your growth impact will depend on your natural person's interaction, and that's overlapping a fusion. We're talking about the carbon or silicon-based creatures, so they will converge or fuse. We don't have an answer, and we need to have real-time think about it. If we have kids, we need to think about how can we allow our kids to grow and fuse with this AI era. How can we have better fusion to maintain our natural properties? Nature is providing the altcoins and also use iris to recognize you, and there will be a boundary between the digital human and the natural human. We don't have answers yet. I think this is a very good question, so that we can keep thinking about it. The kids are very blessed in this era. They have different ways of acquiring knowledge. For us, going to the primary school, middle school, or high school, it will take us about 10 years to accumulate some knowledge. But now the children, with the help of the mobile internet, they almost grow up with the compelling of mobile phones. The knowledge they acquire, the knowledge they know, it's more than us. They have acquired a lot of knowledge with a short period. And in the future, if the chips are embedded or transplanted into the brains, maybe they don't need to recite or read a lot of books. With this information, what are their thoughts? Secondly, the thinking patterns of the children have also been changed. Previously, we obey or listen to teachers, listen to the parents. This is the traditional education. Now, even if they were very young, the children can acquire a lot of knowledge. They will formulate their own world view. They do not need to observe the world and even can get a world view. In this process, we might have many worries and concerns, but the children will have now well-developed way of thinking, and they have their own social circles. And for the future, they can learn a lot. My child is 13 years old. They use computers to simulate the rocket manufacturing and the landing and the launching. Now, school has a program to ask them to teach this in front of the seniors in the school. There is backed by special knowledge and also computer, and he would like to be Elon Musk in the future. We really encourage them. This child, even at the age of 13, it's very visionary. He wants to create a rocket to land or launch the rockets to the Mars. This is not taught by the schools. With the tools and also the mobile internet at hand, with the development of AI, they will get many more empowerment tools. I believe their future will be more imaginative. So in the future, with the arrival or the advent of the super AI era, these children will be more accomplished. That will become new opportunities for the mankind. I'm very optimistic about this. Thank you, Mr. Wang. This is a very interesting question. I am not a father yet. In the AI era, the vast majority of us will do less labor work, have fewer thoughts. I'm focusing on independent thinking. If I can be a father in the future, no matter how advanced the technology is, when they enjoy the benefits of these tools, I hope they can still have independent thinking process. There is a short video clip, the NASA robot on Earth, that mankind has been living in the space, but well, lack of or missing or losing of mobility capabilities. I don't want my child is like that. No matter what the change will be, I hope each kid will enjoying the benefits of this era. They will have some autonomous thinking, independent thinking, and keep an eye on the outside world instead of just staying at their home and from daytime to nighttime. So to put it simply, I hope my children in the future we will have less labor work to do. We still have very independent thinking processes. Very simple. Thank you. It's a joke. So you put, I'm almost in my 70s. I sit beside the youngest panelist. My youngest daughter is 12 years old. My daughter is the roomie with Paul's daughter. I kept saying one thing to my daughter. I will not speak dirty words. I will speak dirty words to you. There were so many pieces of information 18 years old. The world is more chaotic. Through the AIGC, there are a lot of false news. There are infinite pictures, videos, and voices. To educate child is very difficult. Prior to 20 years old, I cannot speak 4-letter words or dirty words. But after 20 years old, I can speak some dirty words. It's difficult. For AI, my daughter also did a budget. She would like to be the judge of the Supreme Court of the states. Now, when they have African, Hispanic judges, but there is a lack of Asian female. After 20 years of schooling, I can go to the law school and I can become a Asian judge in the Supreme Court of the states. Thank you. Many thanks go to our panelists. Our panel will conclude it here. Let's give a warm round of applause to extend our sincere gratitude to all the panelists. Thank you.